Hey guys, Lighten here, and thank you for joining me with my spoilery thoughts on Danganronpa 3, The End of Hope's Peak High. Now, if you do not want any spoilers and just want a generalized review of it, you can click up here. If you have not watched the anime, then what the hell are you doing here? This is full of spoilers, go away now. Watch the anime and then come back. Otherwise, you have been warned. There was a lot that I couldn't really say in the main review as I didn't want to spoil things, and as I started with the future arc there, it's only right that I say something that really annoyed me about the future arc: the Mastermind. I don't get why Tengen did anything that he did. I mean, I get it in part, but there are a lot of holes in the story. Did Tengen become Despair because he watched the video that Chisa gave him? But if he was doing all of this to push Mitarai into creating a brainwashing video of Hope and, to have courage to release it to the world, that doesn't really sound like Despair to me. Well, maybe a little bit like Nagito's kind of despair, but not the normal kind of despair. His plan succeeds, which is great, but I don't fully get how. How did Tengen build another headquarters underneath the first without anybody noticing? That would have taken a lot of money and resources and manpower, but nobody knows about it? Munakata should have known of its existence at the very least because he built the real one. This killing game wasn't being broadcast to the outside world, so aside from learning that people died, if the Future Foundation managed to find this and go inside, how was Mitarai going to be influenced from this game? I guess Tengen wanted everybody to die and then the Future Foundation finds them and then they despair, so then Mitarai gets pushed to make a video of Hope, but that's a lot of unknowns for this plan and it kind of doesn't make any sense. Tying into the unknowns, what was Monika up to? She had prior knowledge to the killing game, but there is no tie between her and Tengen. In fact, she acts like she hacked into this whole thing, but how did she learn about it all? And how did Monika hack into her chair and change Usagi into Monami at the start? It doesn't make any sense unless they were working together, but the anime doesn't really support this. I like that Monika was in this show. It ties into the Ultra Despair Girls and it tries to tie up a few of the plot threads from that game. But then the ending of her story was that she just kind of gives up and stops caring. Like, really? That's it? I was so shocked at this and not in a good way. I did laugh at her reasons though, that Nagito and his speeches about hope and despair was what made her go, meh, I kind of hate this concept now. That was hilarious to me, but it's also a cop-out. The ending of that arc took away from the episode on Towa City as well. I really liked seeing Toko and Kamaru again, and with this show being set after Danganronpa 2, it has been potentially months, yet they are still in that city and they're still fighting those Monokumas that don't end. One thing that we don't know is how much time has passed in between Ultra Despair Girls and now, and as Monika has aged quite a bit, it looks like some time has passed, but we don't get any closure to Ultra Despair Girls, and it just leaves me with even more questions, like what have they been doing all of this time and why hasn't this war been ended? With so many plot holes around, I just want to say something that I really liked, the traitor twist. I was trying to figure out the traitor from the get-go and I loved that there wasn't one. Everybody committed suicide and it makes sense, though it's very crazy and a little bit far-fetched. I suspected Mitarai from the start though, because he was part of the 77B class, but he wasn't in Danganronpa 2, and as everybody else turned into a remnant of despair, I was suspicious. I mean, he was a douche in the show, but nope, he wasn't part of the despair. Oh well, close enough. I also suspected Chisa for very similar reasons and thought that she might have faked her death at the start of the future. My other ideas is that maybe Mitarai killed her because she knew that he was evil or something. Like, I had quite a few theories all around this. But enough about that. Let's go back to plot holes. Like, why was Asahina fake killed? Who did it and why? Maybe I missed the answer, but I don't get it in hindsight. It's made out to be the traitor, but there wasn't one. Alright, let's move on to some characters. Man, Munakata was so annoying. I just couldn't get on board with why he was doing anything that he was doing. The only thing I liked about him was his love triangle with Juzo and Chisa and how tragic it all was. That's why by the end, Juzo turned into somebody that I liked. He was complex and a douche, but I understood why he was doing what he was doing. And the fact that he didn't quit, man, I don't know if I could have kept going with all of those wounds, but he did. Damn, he's so cool. One thing that Future does do pretty well though is make you care for some of the characters like Kizakura and what happened to him. Man, I liked him. Why did he have to go out? But those other three main characters, Kimura, Ando, and Azoye, I don't know how to say that guy's last name, I didn't quite like. I mean, they were developed well enough, I just didn't care for them, and how fast they turned on each other too. Man, they were vicious. Now for some Despair Arc spoilers, and holy cow, the tragedy was bonkers. Funimation has the censored version online to stream, which is where I watched it. I have since watched the uncensored version, and man, even with that censored version, both of these are absolutely insane. I never understood why people were so ready to kill one another in these killing games, but the anime didn't have quite a lot of time, so I understand why it happens like this. I didn't like that Azuru wasn't really involved, as the games made it out that he had a much bigger role in this tragedy, though the show makes sure that everybody else believes he was heavily involved, so it makes sense. Another thing I didn't understand was how Nagito learned about Junko and that she was the ultimate despair. Maybe there is a deleted scene or something that I missed in the dialogue, but it kind of bugs me. That scene when he confronts her though is great and one of the highlights of the show for me. Then he met Azuru and had that luck fight, and oh damn, that was cool. Just so you know, I ship Hajime and Nagito, and I think that this first meeting was done really well. The shock on Nagito's face as he experiences something that he's never felt before, and he instantly connects with Azuru. It's just so good. Now for the sad part. I knew that Chiaki was not gonna make it. She isn't real in Danganronpa 2, and seeing her here, I was like, uh-oh. They're gonna kill her and make her death be the reason why everyone else falls into despair. And I was pretty much on the right track. I didn't think they were gonna be using brainwashing though as the main reason, but it's pretty close. I liked that everybody was so close, and the reason why they fell into despair was because one that they loved was killed so horribly. I mean, like, I don't like it, but it's a good use of character and growth for everybody. It broke my heart to see those scenes of her punishment, man. Damn you, Junko! I would have liked to have seen more after the fall of the world happened and what the remnants were actually up to during that time. I know some of the things, and the tease at the start of the Future arc was really cool. I just wish there was more. And another thing, god damn it, everyone in Danganronpa 2, except for Chiaki, gets to live. So characters like Hiyoko gets to come back to life, but a character like Chihiro doesn't? That's so annoying and unfair. I was also wondering how they came back, but that's answered in 2.5, so I'll talk about it in that video. The conclusion to the show, the Hope arc, was good and bad. I like that Hope was trying to be used as a weapon and to try and turn people into an unfeeling husk like Despair does. But I found it odd that Makoto doesn't have anything to do in that final episode. Sure, he tries his darndest to save everybody, but it's Hajime and his crew that do it. It seems fitting that after all they went through that the world is saved by the original Ultimate Hope, but it's strange that Makoto was sidelined after everything he went through. I also like that our main heroes had some time to interact with them on screen. I would have liked a little bit more of that though. One episode for this arc was definitely not enough. I was also a little surprised that Makoto would start another Hope's Peak after all of the trauma he has gone through, but if anybody could start a school and do it right, it's him. How will that fix the world's issues with the war and despair? I don't know. Also, we don't get an epilogue for the other characters from the 77th class, and they're just trying to fix the world somehow now. I'm not really sure what they're doing. Maybe that will be explored in V3. But one thing I found to be a big kick in the teeth was Kyoko. She is another one of my favorite characters, and her death hit me hard. But they pulled a little sneaky one on me and said that she lived because she found the antidote and took some before she was poisoned. And I'm very happy that she gets to be, alive, but it kind of undercuts the emotional impact that scene had on the story and the rest of the season. But if everybody from Danganronpa 2 can come back from death, I'll take this too. Another thing I found odd was the lack of connection to Danganronpa 0. I thought we would get some of it animated, but we don't, and it was really confusing to me. I honestly thought that the show had cut Zero out of the canon, but after looking online, it doesn't. There are subtle clues and cameos to Zero without being in your face, but that makes it more confusing. Apparently there is a major time skip at the start of episode 11, and I didn't even notice this. That is where the main crux of Zero plays out. The proof of this is that after that time skip, Junko goes from her black outfit to wearing the one from the Zero book. But aside from that little indication, there's not really anything in the anime to show the passage of time. I mean, why didn't they have a few months later card, or the seasons passing, or something like that? This even happens again in the same episode when Class 77B falls into despair. There are months missing after Chiaki dies and the world falls. In this time, Junko was training them to be despair, or so the story around this time would imply. If they didn't waste so much time in those first 2 to 3 episodes with so much filler, they might have been able to show a little bit more of this. Lastly, one major question I have, and this is not really much to do with anything, is why was Class 77 split into A and B? That's the only class in all of Danganronpa to do so, and it's not addressed in the anime or the books or online or anything, so let me know what you think. All in all, I really liked both shows. There are too many plot holes in Future which annoy me, and not enough story into Spare, but together they work. I wish they had incorporated more of the 78th class in Despair and shown more parts of Zero as well to help tie everything together. But I understand that they wanted to develop Chiaki and her relationship with the rest of the class, but most of it wasn't super important anyway. You could have cut some of those scenes and added some of the other things in. So guys, those were my spoilery thoughts about Danganronpa 3. What did you think about the anime? Did you have as many questions as I did after you finished watching it? Because I thought there were so many plot holes, especially in that Future arc, and maybe I just missed it. Maybe they're more subtle, like the references to Danganronpa 0, which I missed most of when I first watched the show. I don't know, maybe it's just me. Please answer anything you can in the comments below, and you can write whatever you want because it's spoiler land, so yay! Don't forget to subscribe as well, and I'll see you guys next time. Bye!